I would like to start this off by clarifying that I do like Megadeth. It's just I find it hard to like Megadeth as much as I do other bands. I find it hard to listen to a Megadeth song for the first time and be like, you know what, that's really cool. It does happen sometimes, but overall, um, a lot of their songs tend to miss for me, and I'll explain why in a moment. Especially when getting compared to Metallica, which is not what I typically like to do, but a lot of people love to do that. And I'm just really frustrated of everyone being like, Metallica sucks, Megadeth is awesome. When honestly, when analyzing the music, at least the good side of Metallica's music and then Megadeth's music, because everyone seems to state that pretty much all of Megadeth's music has been good. I think Metallica has objectively made better music, and I always say this: music can be objective. How you like it can be subjective. You can like something that's objectively bad, but that doesn't mean that music can't be objective. So, I would like to start off by kind of analyzing this bass line that I think is a little overrated. I like the song, but I think the bass line's a little overrated. And I want to say I've never learned this bass line before at all. I don't know how it's played, and there's a reason why I say that. This is the bass line from Peace Cells. Everyone loves it, but to me, especially when I first listened to it, I immediately in my mind I'm like, huh, that's just kind of a note soup bass line. It's a lot of notes for the sake of there being a lot of notes, and that's somehow supposed to make it cool. But I always think there has to be more of a purpose to notes. They have to be better thought out instead of just having notes here and there, and therefore it sounds cool. Um, I don't think it's horribly thought out. I just think it's kind of generic. Um, I think it moves incredibly predictably. I don't know how it's played, but I'm thinking in my head there's probably like a whole step movement, a minor third, and like a tritone. The tritone is very easily identifiable, especially to my ears. I love tritones. So let me see. What note is that? Okay, it's E. So like the point of that is that I'm going to learn it right now, like super easily, just from the way it sounds. I'll try to not mess up. Like whole octave jump and half step. There we go. You see? I think I just got it. That's so predictable. It's so easy to identify what those notes are just because of the way it moves. I don't know if I'm playing that exactly right, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close. Something like that. Right? You just got that. It's like that thing I like to complain about with pop songs of the modern day. It's usually always like some kind of thing with a whole step, and then like somewhere in there is also a minor third. That's how like a lot of just like those more just like improvised solos without much thought go. It's always something like that. Oh, this is out of tune. And yeah, so the problem I have with a lot of um Megadeth songs is that I don't think the music is super well thought out a lot of the time. I think it's either really generic and like just a lot of metal tropes that you see a lot, or it's just like random notes that are kind of just shoved in there for the point of being shoved in there. You see, it's good to not be predictable, and that's when you want to have different notes that are not exactly what you expect. But there's a difference between being random and being different. You can be different, but also have something in there that makes more sense than just, say, a random chord or note that you shoved in there because you wanted something different, You can be smart about it. I feel like Megadeth's really the kind of band to just go down chromatically and have that be the whole riff, you know? Like, damn it. Yeah, like, and that's their riff, you know? Always something like along that line, you know, just more generic metal tropes. Um, they have done that, right? They did that on, um, what's it called? What's that one song? Sweating Bullets, right? Is right? Do something like that. And you see, you can be chromatic, but you know, if your note choices are going to be kind of boring, then you need something to spice it up, and that's usually going to be like the rhythmic part of it. A great example is, well, one of the most famous metal songs of all time, Master of Puppets. I have to compare it to Metallica because even though that opening riff is just a chromatic descent, the way the rhythm is makes it not feel like that. It emphasizes certain notes that make it feel that it's more than just a chromatic descent. It gives it some personality, right? I don't know if it's because I've known Metallica for longer, but when I listen to Metallica songs, the riffs sound like timeless masterpieces that have been around since the beginning of time. And then I listen to a song by Megadeth, and I think, well, it's cool, but you know, even though it's maybe a sort of exceptional riff, it does kind of sound like, you know, any band with a good enough skill set could have come up with it. Um. So yeah, that's what I think about it. You know, like here's an example from something I wrote. This is also kind of a chromatic thing, but you know, because of the way I used it, it doesn't just sound like. So this is my riff. I'll show you how it goes. See, that's one of my metal riffs. So yeah, that's my criticism of Megadeth. Let me think. Of course, it's Dave Mustaine's voice, but you know, you get used to it, sort of, over time. So I don't think that's a huge critique. It's mainly the music writing, which is what I focus on. Which is what I focus on anyway. I'm a big music guy. I'm not too huge on the vocals or lyrics. I like music. I like how music works and what makes it work and what makes it good and what makes it just random notes. Like something like I just came up with that right now. It kind of sounds cool. You can make a song out of that. But it's really predictable. It's just a walk down a scale, but with a lot of notes played fast, so it sounds cool, you know? Which is also why I think, this is my own last thing, it's also why I think the Mechanics, which is, you know, the Four Horsemen by Metallica, but Megadeth's version that excludes the bridge. No, the interlude. The reason I think that's an inferior version to the Four Horsemen is because of the thing that they very intentionally did. He sped it up by a lot, which usually, you know, thrash metal, it's nice to be cool, but, you know, there still has to be a feel to it. There has to be, you know, it's not just fast for the sake of being fast. It's not just more notes for the sake of there being more notes in a quicker succession. There has to be feel to it. And, you know, to be raw and rough and angry, you know, you can play pretty fast, but not super fast to the point where, like, what's the point? You're just hearing noise now, you know? I like, you know, there's feel to that. It drives home the story as well. This galloping, that's not galloping, this is galloping. But still, that kind of sort of moving sort of like swing feel that has really makes you think of the horses on the Four Horsemen. Meanwhile, the mechanics is literally just like. What's the point of going that fast? You can barely feel it because it's just too fast, So that's what I think. I think the summary over this, they play too many notes, they don't play the right notes, they play fast for the sake of playing fast, and they're kind of generic sometimes. And it's not the worst thing in the world. I do like Megadeth, but that's just what I thought of them, So yeah, that's all. See ya.